One of the things I am trying to do this year is make more boring videos like this. Question for you. What type of stove do you think is the best for camping? Is it gas? Is it alcohol? Is it petrol? Let me know in the comments. Start an argument. Boost the engagement. Thanks. Right, I hate to admit this, but I was wrong about something, and the thing that I was wrong about was this, my little one cup wonder cookset ultralight setup that I put together. Now, initially I based this around this Vargo stove that I thought was going to be the most lightweight stove that I could possibly get my hands on. I thought it was really good. I mean, it did the job. It boiled water, it cooked stuff. But then I got messages from people saying, you should be trying the spill-proof stoves, the speedster stove, the X-Boil. They're much better than this. So I looked into that, and then I bought myself one of these. Let me see. This is a stove. This is a tiny 20 milliliter stove, and the little pot stand that I got with that was this. Put that in there, mug on top, and I used that on my last camping video, and it did work. It just took about half an hour to boil the water, so it was really lightweight. So I got an email from some know-it-all called, only joking, called Mark Bailey, local subscriber, and the gist of his email was basically, Stephen, it's embarrassing watching you make these terrible attempts at putting a good alcohol cook set together. Forget all about that. I will send you one of my own. So Mark makes these little burners, these little stoves called the Bailey burners. He sells them on eBay, and he sells a full cook set with it as well. And that is what he sent me. So I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to do a quick boil. I'm going to make a cup of coffee, and yeah, maybe this will be what I'm going to use going forward. But he sent me the cook set plus 4 burners, so this larger 60mm burner, and then a 30mm burner, and then a tiny 15ml simmer burner that's just really for simmering, I guess. And that is it's tiny. So the way these spill-proof burners work is that they've got some kind of fire-resistant material in there. You can't burn it, it's maybe fiberglass or something. And it's in there, and then there's a wire mesh over the top. And what that means is it's like a sponge. So when you put the alcohol in there, the wool, the fire wool or whatever it is, absorbs the alcohol. It still releases it enough that it'll burn, but if you tip it up, it sort of holds it the way a sponge would, so they don't spill, which means these are much safer to use inside a tent than something like the Vargo, because this just has liquid alcohol in it. This is why this sort of scared me a little bit, because when you're blowing it out, and if there's a lot of alcohol in it, and it's, you know, it's up near the top, you're sort of spraying the alcohol, you know, whereas you just don't have that same problem with these little spill-proof burners. As I've now learned, thanks to all your corrective comments. So it's all based around this, I think it's a 750 milliliter titanium cup. And it's like the Russian dolls in here, because we open this up, and oh dear, hang on, let's try and get this out all in one go. There is another smaller cup on the inside. We'll look and see what's inside that in a second. Inside the big cup, the big mug, is a little cotton bag. And inside the cotton bag is this, which is a very nice titanium windshield. And the way this goes together, those of you who are familiar with this stuff will be like, yeah, duh, Stephen, I didn't know this existed. This goes together like this, folds around that. Inside the mug, we then have, now there's one thing I added in here myself, actually 2 things I've added in here myself, so I'll show you those first. This is the first thing I've added in myself, and that is a very small alcohol bottle that has about 40 milliliters of alcohol in it, which in theory should be enough for at least 2 boils of this, in theory, in ideal conditions. We've got another little cotton bag, which contains my lighter. I added that myself. And then we've also got these. These are the pot stands. These are very, very clever. These just slot on the top of the windshield like this, which is very clever. It's really easy to set up. See that? There is a titanium folding spoon. Let's just fold that up. And then in here we've got the burner. And here it is. This is a 50 milliliter burner, which is substantially bigger than that other tiny one I was using. It also feels a lot more robust. Let's fuel this thing up. Got my little fuel bottle here. This is a handy fuel bottle. I found this online. It's got markings on it, which is really, really handy if you're trying to dose out a fixed amount of fuel. So I'm using bioethanol. There's currently 80 mils in this, so by the time this is filled up, this should be down to about 30. A little bit more. Okay. So that's about 50 mils added to that. We light it. Might take a second or two. This is the one downside I found with alcohol in winter or colder weather. I can check. Is that burning? Ow! Yes, it is. It is burning. It's ridiculous how utterly invisible that burns. On top. Okay. Let's see how long it takes to boil 500 milliliters of water. Pop it on. Put the lid on. That's really neat, actually, the way that all goes together like that. Last time I did a series of boil tests to test stoves, I managed to literally set myself on fire, so hopefully that doesn't happen this time. I don't know if it looks it, but it's like 1 degree Celsius out here. It's really, really cold. We're now getting into that time of year at which, yeah, it's cold outside. I mean, that should be obvious. It's always known as winter, Stephen, you idiot. Now, you might be saying, Stephen, this isn't exactly the same because you originally started off with your 1 cup wonder. This is a 2 cup scenario. We will come to that because this can be configured for a 1 cup wonder, so I'll get to that at the end. But there are benefits to this setup, I suppose. Much like easy origami, the benefits of this setup are twofold. Not my joke, Tim Vines. In that having a separate container that you can boil in versus the one you can drink in is useful because it means I can boil the water, make my hot drink, and I still have a container left over, so that means I can have a hot drink, plus I could be cooking pasta or doing some other food prep in this, and then you can have your hot food out here, and you can have your hot drink out of here. But we will come to the 1 cup solution at the end, once this boils. Where are we at? 6 minutes. Waiting for the pot to boil, boiling, 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 boiling. Taking a peek, is it boiled yet? No, it's nearly boiled. There we go. Okay. We have boiling. Right. How hot's that? That was fine, actually. Right, let's see how easy this is to put out, because that's essential if you're inside a tent. Can I put this out with just 1 single short, sharp? Happy with that. And I can tell from the weight of that's hot. Not as hot as it could have been. I can tell from the weight of that there's still a lot of the ethanol is unburned in that. So my guess would be, well, I don't really know for sure, but I feel like it's still about half full. And you know what? I'm going to light it and leave it just to burn off. All right, so I'll leave that burning just to see exactly how long a burn you'll get from a single fill. But that's half a litre of water, and that boiled in 14 minutes and 30 seconds. And one thing I should say is that the water I used in that was inside my van, and it got to 1 degree Celsius last night. So I was using 1 degree Celsius water, whereas if I'd been using tap water from the tap in the house, it probably would have been warmer than that. So I think that still gives you a good idea of how this would perform if you're out camping and it's really, really cold overnight, because your water is going to be whatever the temperature was in the tent that night. The one thing I like to do is if I'm camping in winter, before I go to bed, I'll boil the water that's in my container, in my Nalgene. I'll pour it back into the Nalgene, and I'll put a spare sock over it, and I'll put it down my sleeping bag as a hot water bottle. In the morning, that water will still be around, I don't know, like 15 degrees Celsius, probably even more than that, probably close to body temperature. So probably, 30 Celsius. So that's a lot less to have to warm up than if it's been sitting out and it's, gone to ambient temperature, or if you're trying to melt snow to boil. That's it, working very, very good. I can boil my water in there, I can cook in there. But what if I want to bring the least weight, the least bulk possible? How much can I fit into this? And what I can fit into this, and for me, the aim of a 1 cup wonder, it's for one night, one meal, one hot drink. So it only needs to boil about 2 of those cups. So that means a stove that holds 30 mils would be enough. Theoretically, in like summer conditions, this filled with alcohol, and this has a seal on it, so you can carry alcohol in it, although it might be an idea to put in a baggie just in case. So in theory, all I would need would be this with some alcohol in it, a way of igniting it, which would be my lighter, and then my pot stand. Let's see. I can never. Which, if I bend it just a little bit more, will go right down in there. Pot stands, my windshield, then my little pot stands, my titanium spoon, and then, because you don't want to find yourself running out of fuel when you're out, can I bring enough fuel for another top up? This is about another 40 milliliters of fuel. Let me just organize this slightly better. And that fits in there as well. And not only that, there is enough room still in this for me to put one of my cappuccino sachets in there, 3 things of sugar, and if I so desire, I can stuff a few of these little cotton bags in as well, just to stop everything rattling around. And that gives me my new 1 cup wonder, which has a much better windshield than this, a much better burner than this, a faster burner than this, and makes much more efficient use of the space. So yeah, this will be my new 1 cup wonder. And then this other setup will be for when I want to use an alcohol stove, and I want the benefits of the two cups. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased indeed. So thank you very much to Mark Bailey for sending this to me. Really appreciate it. He's not paying me. He just offered to send this to me for free, and I said I might make a video about it. And then I looked at it and was kind of impressed, so I thought I would. So if you're interested in buying one of Mark's kits or just one of his Bailey burners, you can get them on eBay if you just search for Bailey burner. I'll stick a link in the description as well to his listing. One of the things I am trying to do this year is make more boring videos like this. My kind of I've been wanting to up the standard of the quality for my bigger adventure videos, and the problem with that is that one of my bigger adventure videos typically takes me 2 days to shoot it, and 10 to 15 to 16 hours of editing, which is just not sustainable to do one of those every week, especially when I'm trying to juggle client work at the same time. So probably it's going to go down to like 1, maybe one big concept, one big idea, adventure once a month, and then sort of smaller videos in between, kind of a mixture. And, you know, more gear. People was always asking me about gear. I don't want to do loads of videos because I think people can obsess too much about gear. Somebody asked me why on my video with Paul Mesner that we didn't discuss kit. I deliberately didn't discuss kit because I think it can sometimes distract from actually the fun and the enjoyment if you just obsess over kit, because it puts people into, well, it puts a couple of mindsets. It creates like a gatekeeping mindset that people think, I can't do this if I don't have the right kit. Like, I can't camp in winter unless I've spent £600 on a tent, for example. And I say that as somebody who has spent that kind of money on a tent. But you can buy a tent for under 100 quid that you could use in winter. Maybe just not necessarily on top of a mountain in the 70-mile-an-hour winds. Not that I like to camp in those conditions anyway. I just don't. I'm not a fan of storm camps. If I'm going camping, I want to sleep. I want to sleep comfortable. There we go. This thing's still going, and we're 22 minutes in. Give that a stir. Give it a stir. Give it a stir. One advantage of this setup, boiling your water in here, is you end up with hot water in here. So I've got about 150 mils of hot water still in there. That means if I'm just having my brew, drink this, and then I pour that hot water in here, put the lid on, give it a shake, just not near your face, and then that washes the mug as well, especially if you're having like a delicious barista style cappuccino like this. So yeah, my plans for the channel, sort of big idea videos when I can make them. I've got one planned sometime over the next few weeks. I've been planning it for, well, I've been wanting to do it for a couple of years, but I've been more seriously planning it for a few months. I've been buying bits and pieces for it. Yeah, there's a couple of things I really want to do this winter, and that's one of them. And it'll be happening sometime soon. How is that? That's not bad. I probably should have rinsed these or washed them before using them for the first time. I'm just realizing. I'm not implying that Mark has like greasy, dirty hands or anything like that. It's just a good idea to clean stuff, or before you trust your digestive system to it for the first time. That is delicious. And yeah, that's going to replace this. This was the very first titanium mug I bought. I bought this 5 years ago, at least 5 years ago. And it's been in campfires, it's been all kinds of adventures with me, and now it's kind of been made redundant. Should I give this away? Should I do a giveaway for my sooty titanium mug? I'm not a big fan of giveaways, but I have thought one thing I'm going to do, I think I might do, if I do giveaways, it's going to be for channel members only. Just because I think if you make giveaways public, you get lots of people who don't really care about your channel. They're just there because you're giving away free stuff. And I also think that creating a culture of like, I'm just not the biggest fan of public giveaways. Almost never enter them myself. But I might do like a small scale giveaway, or will do some small scale giveaways to channel members for worthless stuff. Like my sooty mug. You can own a piece of Stephen J. Reid history if you only become a channel member. Be in for a chance of my sooty beat up mug. I don't know. Is that a good idea? Would people appreciate that? I mean, it still works. It still works perfectly fine. It's just covered in soot, but I don't need it anymore because Mark sent me this shiny new one, and there's no point keeping stuff I'm not using. So, and I can't really sell it because it's so used, and I don't want to do like a big public giveaway. So yeah, maybe the channel members. This thing's still going. That thing is still going. How long are we going now? 25 minutes. Anyway, so let me know what you thought of all this, and let me know that if you were a channel member, would the idea of winning some of my unwanted and well-used kit be appealing? Comment below. Oh, think, ow. That flame. Ow, it's hot. Okay. Wow. That burned for over 30 minutes. One fill of that burned for over 30 minutes. So that means that 50 mils in this would have boiled a full liter of water. Quite impressed. Thanks, Mark. I think it's out.